Modern employers face a dilemma. With stacks of resumes and job applications, how do they choose the best applicant? Perhaps they must develop a list of reasons to say no. Does the candidate have a college degree? Do they have 4 years work experience? Can they lift 30 pounds? As the labor market gets tighter, the standards get higher and higher. Perhaps the position now requires a master's degree, or the applicant will have to move to a remote area. The process of filtering resumes from 1,000 down to 7 may be convenient for the hiring manager, but it may also be downright discrimination. How can this process be fixed? This human resources presentation will examine the new methods being used to address the issue of discrimination in the hiring process. International companies like Samsung hire nearly 40,000 employees a year. With such a large demand for workers, Samsung has created a streamlined and effective selection process. Candidates fill out an application from anywhere in the world online. This screens unqualified applicants, and those that pass move on to an online interview. Next, specific skill sets, such as computer programming or military engineering, are tested via standardized tests created by experts that understand the demands of the job. The willingness to hire from across the globe has made Samsung one of the most ethnically diverse companies in the world. This diversity has proved essential as it has overtaken Apple as the world's leading smartphone manufacturer. Unlike Apple, Samsung focuses on niche markets. For instance, they created an interactive app for children with autism that enables them to experience a learning process created specifically for them. This ingenuity and adaptability can be directly traced to the diversity of their workforce and their willingness to hire applicants based on skill sets, not race or gender. Google is the perfect example of a company that struggles with workforce diversity. Only 30% of Google's workforce is comprised of women, with only 21% in a leadership role. Lack of diversity is something that Google is keenly aware of, so much so that they published their workforce data online in 2014. They claim they lack diversity because only 18% of computer science degrees go to women, and less than 10% of college graduates are Black or Hispanic, with only 5% of those having computer science degrees. Google's Human Resources Department faces an incredible challenge as the labor pool doesn't contain the diversity they require. Their answer has been to devote $150 million to expand their recruitment efforts. They are hoping to change the labor pool by enticing females and underrepresented ethnicities to pursue degrees in computer science. They've also doubled the number of colleges in which they recruit, including historically Black universities across the country. Perhaps the most intriguing move they've made is creating a program called Made with Code that teaches children how to code. Rather than simply accepting the labor market is not diverse, Google is doing something about it to change the future of diversity in the technology industry. In doing so, they have dramatically transformed the recruiting process. One of the most interesting developments in the journey to remove discrimination in the hiring process is taking place in Silicon Valley. A company called Interviewing.io has found that in order for the process to be completely bias-free, the interviewer can't know any details about the interviewee. All information, such as the person's name, date of birth, and gender, are removed from the resume in the process called scraping. The interview then takes place over the internet. In order to mask the candidate's voice, voice-changing software is used that sounds similar to the voice of the character Bane in Batman.
If I pull that off, will you die?
It would be extremely painful.
You're a big guy.
For you.
The goal is to remove any hint of bias from the hiring process. Audrey Quinn of the podcast Planet Money gave it a try with CEO of Interviewing.io, Aileen Lerner.
So then I asked her to, can you show me how it works? Can you just switch it on?
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
Noelle, can you hear me?
Aileen, is that you?
I am afraid it is.
You really sound like a man.
Yeah, you do as well.
How do I sound as a dude?
You sound very self-entitled and confident.
Companies such as Apple, Google, and even Facebook are rumored to be giving this process a try. However, not all applicants are excited about the idea, as Planet Money discovers when they interview Kaya Thomas, a junior at Dartmouth.
I am studying computer science, and I am the only black woman studying computer science in the class of 2017.
She's going to be looking for a job, probably in Silicon Valley. A lot of companies there say they want to hire more women, more people of color. And when I told her about this option, having your voice changed in an interview, would you do it?
No, I would not do that.
She worries that if companies use blind hiring as a fix to eliminate bias, they might stop actively recruiting people like her.
I think kind of just slapping on blind hiring and calling it a day is a terrible, terrible mistake. I think what will happen is a company will become complacent.
She wants employers to be hiring with their eyes open, not shut.
Perhaps the complete elimination of discrimination in the hiring process isn't the answer. Perhaps the answer lies in ensuring that people of all races and genders have access to the training and education required to create a skilled labor pool that accurately represents global diversity.